No, we'll probably keep it about 20 minutes or so. I just want to get to the basic questions, get to know, who you are a little more, have a conversational, and then also, what are some of the things that you look to accomplish as being the Nassau County Clerk?
Okay.
What motivated you to do this, and some of the things that you can look to implement change in that role and whatnot, but also more on the social equity piece, possibly being the first African American male to, run and be held a position like this as countywide, and how that would help spur and motivate other people to get involved and to, into the political process, and not only to run, but just to be civically engaged, and how important that is.
Right. Okay, that works.
All right, so I'll jump right into it. Thank you everyone for joining this conversation today. My name is Dan Lloyd. I'm the founder and president of Minority Millennials, and our organization was formed in 2017 simply as a tool to bridge the gap between policy and culture. Our mission is to help young people of color access jobs, build wealth, and become civically engaged. We strongly believe that if our generation, millennials and Gen Z of color, are engaged civically, not only does it open up opportunities for professional and personal development, but it shifts the power of political will in a region that we desperately need a larger voice and a larger influence. So with that said, today we have been doing interviews and just holding conversations, just general conversations with millennials and Gen Z of color that are running for office in this year's 2021 local elections. For this conversation, we have a special guest with us who I've gotten to know in the last few months, who has been an acquaintance of mine just from the basketball background that we have over at Boulder Mac tournament. But I'm excited about our conversation tonight because I think it's not only vital, but it's something that we need to start seeing more of. We need to start seeing more people, that young people of color, running for office. And I think this gentleman is somebody that's not only a trailblazer, but that's setting a precedent of what that looks like, because he has the opportunity to not only make history, but to start shaping history and what that looks like in Nassau County. So without further ado, I want to introduce our guest tonight. His name is Justin Brown, who's, like I said, a candidate for Nassau County Clerk, who's already a board member for Uniondale School District. And so, Justin, welcome to the Minority Millennials, Millennial and Gen Z Connect with Justin Brown for Nassau County Clerk. Justin, how is everything?
Everything is good. Thank you for having me. Out of any interview that I've had so far, I think this is the one I've been looking most forward to, because, like you said, we have that direct connection from the basketball world, and you got the ears of a lot of the people that I've dealt with, and people that kind of people I'm from and the places I'm from. So definitely want to get that message out there to them, and let them know exactly what's going on with me, and just spread the word on. These are the kind of things that we could definitely do, and we can make some noise in this area. We just gotta rally behind each other and really focus and support each other. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about this relationship between policy and culture, right? Because as you know, especially in the basketball world, when before a game or in the locker room or after the game, when everyone's chilling, and now that we're adults, especially when we're younger, but now that we're adults, we really don't have that conversation about who's running for office, who's our county executive, who's our district attorney. Unfortunately, if you have a conversation about the district attorney, it might be in a different light, right?
Right.
So talk a little bit about why it's so important to really have a cross section of policy and culture, that basketball leaders or, nightlife or, recording artists that are from the island, or painters and artists in general, or just community activists, are really connected to what that next shift of political power looks like in Nassau County. Why is that so important to have that parallel?
I mean, I definitely think that it's important for us to even know who our local electives are, whether it be the county executive, your legislators, your councilmen, whatever it may be. These are people that is super important to know, because laws and policies are being made by these individuals. And, these are things that are affecting your everyday life, from the way sanitation is ran to, how much taxes you're going to be getting, if it's going to be increased, decreased. All these kind of things are being made locally, and we don't even know what's going on, how it's being done, when it's being done. And we gotta change the conversation. Even when we're in these uh, at the basketball courts, or in the locker rooms, or just chilling wherever we're at. The conversation on politics, the names should be brought up, because you got to know who these people are. We have to be able to go out there and vote, because a lot of people don't know. The more we vote, then they pay attention to who votes, and they have those numbers, they have all that kind of stuff. The more we vote, they see that, and then the more we will receive in return, because they want your vote at the next time when it's time for them to run again. So they're going to address your concerns and your needs. Hence why certain areas um, are getting more attention than other areas. So if we can come out in numbers strong, especially our age, we got to come out right now. I think we have maybe the biggest population, millennials and the Gen Z. These are the individuals that are really, taking over in the workforce, and starting to buy houses and that kind of stuff. So we got to be present in these local elections, and it's super important to have our voice heard out there. And trust me, they know that, we're here.
Yeah. And you talk about the power of the vote, right? But I think a lot of times when we think about being civically engaged, it could kind of give like this connotation of, I've heard people say, well, I'm not a square, or like, nah, that's kind of corny. But if you really look at the bigger picture of it, it's essentially a platform of power, right? And this is not like power 50 cents and stars power, even though in power, part of that is politics, right?
Right.
Like, when they were building the work with Councilman Tate, like you see that even though that's a show, but it shows like the underlying of power. And I think in order to get more young people interested in this is to explain to them that your voice and your vote is actually a string of power. And if we continue to strengthen that string, it becomes a rope. Then that rope becomes, an entire platform or bridge where we can then start pulling and shifting the things that we want to get done in a way that Long Island has never seen before. And that's why I say that you're a trailblazer. And that's why I reached out to you when I saw that you're running, because I love it. And that's what we need. We need more, especially young Black men too, that they see and understand the value of their voice, because that is a platform of power. And we don't really connect the two, I don't think. I think we look at, voting and taking the census and filling out the census and volunteering, volunteering with your local party, regardless if it's Democratic, Republican, Independent, Libertarian. We look at those things as if that has nothing to do with us, but then we're naive because our community and our family is impacted by those that see the power of being civilly engaged. And that's part of why our communities have been left out and underfunded and underutilized for so many years. So to talk about community though, can you talk a little bit about where you're from, just on Long Island, and what kind of got you to this point where you were literally picked to run for Nassau County Clerk, which is not easy to do?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll start by saying, it's funny because you mentioned power. So anytime I go to the gym or anything, the first thing everybody says is, "Oh, Councilman Tate is in the building," or something like that. So I get that all day, every day. But I know they just playing around or anything. But I'm from Uniondale. Originally I'm from Brooklyn. I moved out here around like 13, and then went to middle school and high school in Uniondale. So pretty much I claim Uniondale. That's where I really grew up and made my own name in Uniondale. So from Uniondale, uh, again, I was always a sports guy. Played basketball for the most part. Um, you know, Pretty accomplished in that area. High school, went on to college, played Division II, got a full scholarship. From there, after I graduated with a criminal justice background. From there, went on to Hofstra University, where I got my master's in healthcare administration, and started doing a lot of community advocacy as far as like joining the school board. After I graduated Hofstra University, I joined the MHA Healthcare Administration Executives Board. Pretty much, just advocating and helping alumni, students, and individuals that are still in school, be able to get those networking opportunities to continue to make their careers grow and give them every opportunity they can. Also working on the Nassau County Board of Visitors board. I was appointed as the president for there because I worked at Rikers Island for a
Mm,
couple of years. I was a corrections officer there as well.
really? I didn't
So
know that.
yeah, so they made me the president for that, where pretty much we're advocating on, not really advocating, but pretty much we collaborate with the sheriff's department whenever there's like a grievance process or anything like that. Every time there's a grievance and it's directed toward the board of visitors, we make sure that we can contact the sheriff's department, make sure that that grievance was addressed and the policies and regulations was followed, and that that inmate can make sure that they got some type of determination back or response back, so that they know that they've been heard. Because as many people, especially in those situations, all they want to do is be heard. And you know they want somebody that could represent for them, so we try to assist in that area. So with the different advocacies, community advocate stuff I've been doing, I thought about running for a Nassau County Clerk. And with my career and stuff I've been doing, I was working for Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center as a healthcare administrator, where we do the day-to-day operations, supervising staff, looking at systems, making sure that those systems are up to date, modernized, being able to make sure that stakeholders are able to access documents when they need them, pharmaceutical companies, doctors, patients, and all that kind of stuff. And pretty much it was an easy transition from that into the clerk's office because of the nature of the job and the clerk's office and how it's being ran. So I thought I'd be a perfect candidate. When I spoke to some of the leaders in the Democratic um, Party, I explained that as well, and they thought, I'd be the perfect candidate as well. So that's how I started to run.
Yeah, interesting journey. Talk a little bit about, though, what is the groundwork that you would have to do? Say if someone wants to run, did you already have an existing relationship with the Nassau County Democratic Party? How did that all work?
I didn't really have too much of a relationship. I know I did some when Taylor Darling was running.
Okay.
She, I helped her out with some stuff, and I went to a couple of events and that kind of stuff. So my face was out there a little bit. Uh, she introduced me to some people, as the person that was on the school board. And it was just networking, and speaking to people, getting out there, letting people know that, hey, I am interested in, one day potentially running for a seat, wherever it may be. And that was my thing. I think I mentioned it once or twice, and never heard about anything from maybe a year or so. And then one day I got a call, and they was like, hey, would you like to run for something? Somebody brought your name up, they thought you'd be a great candidate. And that's how it started, and I said yes, and I've been running ever since. So
Right. Nice.
right.
What are some of the things that you are looking to, you know, bring innovation to the county clerk, or some ways that you look to, make sure that it's a 21st century clerk's office to really help the community, but also help those, especially communities of color, that are looking to get into entrepreneurship, or just understanding what
Absolutely.
exactly the clerk's office does.
Right. So I think one of the biggest things is engagement. A lot of people don't even know what the county clerk's office is. So that's a
Mhm.
huge problem in itself, especially in a lot of minority areas. They don't know what the clerk's office is. When I knock on doors, people say, what is the clerk? And then I have to go into a whole spiel about what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
So just having that community engagement, really collaborating with our libraries, civic associations, our churches. These are places that have a lot of residents in those areas that come in and out of, and we can get the message through them, and really go to the residents and really explain, offer services, offer educational seminars and these kind of things, webinars, so that people know what the county clerk's office is and what benefits and resources they can get out of it. So one thing I always talk about is something that's called DBAs, especially in this time and day where we have so many entrepreneurs, especially younger entrepreneurs. What you can do is you can go to the county clerk's office and you can you can request a DBA, you can sign up for it, which is a doing business as, and you can start your business up under a DBA until you can get your LLC. And it costs about $30. It's not even, it doesn't cost a lot. But in the meantime, while you're going through the process of getting your LLC, because sometimes it can take a while, you can start your business and have your business name and all that kind of stuff. And these are things that we don't know about. People don't know that you can go to the county clerk's office and get that. So just having those resources and getting that message out to our areas, all of Nassau County, but especially our areas, because we really need to know and learn what the county clerk's office is and what it has to offer.
Yeah, and another big thing is like property ownership, right? Not only just home ownership, but property ownership. A big thing is being able to flip houses or buy an investment house before you even own your own house. So if you go to the county clerk's office, you can actually get information on deeds, right? And
deeds,
more
liens, all
information.
this stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then you hit it on the head before when you spoke about innovation. One thing that, I've been with my opponent, I've been criticizing a little bit because it's been a major concern of mine is we're still talking about as an accomplishment establishing a electronic system in 2021. That's not an accomplishment. That should be the baseline. Everyone has an electronic system. That's not something that should be celebrated. What we should be talking about is innovation. How can we innovate and make things better for our residents? How can we make it so that it's easier, like per clicks? There's a huge difference, and it's a major difference for our senior citizens and our veterans, people that may not be as technology savvy, when they have to click 3, 4, 5, 6 times to get to a deed or something along those lines. We want to make sure that they can maybe do 2 or 3 clicks and they can get to whatever they need to get to, and it's as simple as possible, as user friendly as possible, and that they can have assistance when they need it. So I've spoken about little things like that, making an ingrown system rather than using outside vendors, because then we can control what kind of systems and what we want in place. We can revise it. We can change things up whenever we need it. These are, just ideas and innovative ideas that we can utilize to make the systems better that we have in place.
Yeah, and I think that's, like you said, it should be a baseline, right? We're in a 21st century economy. And if we're, doing things, especially with the clerk's office, that is antiquated and making the process that much more difficult, not only for senior citizens, but for every person that's trying to find something,
right?
Then that's something that needs to be accountable for change. Can you talk a little bit about FOILs as well? The FOILs go through the county clerk's office?
Yes, so FOILs does go through the county clerk's office, and I think the response time, for me, turnaround time is a problem.
Yeah.
So typically with FOILs, and this is FOILs for any area, any department, even school boards or whatever. When you get a FOIL, you're supposed to, within, I think, 72 hours, you're supposed to get a response back saying that they receive the full response. And then after you get that message back, then you'll get something where you get that whatever you requested, then they're supposed to send it within a timely manner. So the problem is the timely manner, because once you get the first response, which is usually an automated message, which is, once you send it, they'll send an automated message saying, oh, we received it, and you'll get it back within whenever we have time or whatever. So it can take, sometimes I've heard it takes 6, 8 weeks, months, and that's a problem. We should have something in place where people are getting things within maybe a week, 7 days. If it's more complicated or something that we really have to put together, maybe we'll reach out to that person or that individual and let them know that, hey, this may take a little more time, or it may take 2 weeks, depending on what it is. But timely manner, people shouldn't have to wait months to get a FOIL request. I know people that's requested it 2-3 months ago and still hasn't gotten what they needed back, and that's a problem. So
Yeah.
we want to come in and we want to be able to fix that, because when people ask for certain things, we should be able to get that to them.
Yeah, and if you're not able to access a foil, then that also kind of it builds a lack of trust, right? And I think one of the things you had to mention
Right.
is you want to build trust and transparency
Transparency.
in the
Exactly.
clerk's office. And if you can't get access to information through a foil or through what it is that you need to get, then that's what people get frustrated about. And those are some things that need to change. Can you talk a little bit about your run for the Unionville School District? How many terms have you served on the school board there?
Right. So I served only for one term. I did my 3 years, and then, I was given this opportunity. So I decided to, step away from that and really focus on running for the Nassau County Clerk's position. But I'm so grateful for being on the school board because, it taught me a lot. Um, it's a lot of work. It's an unpaid position,
Yeah,
but it's really like a full-time job based
yeah,
off the documents, dealing with the community. And I honestly think that, so many people, if you're running for office, you should really go through the school board because it deals with everything from budgets, hiring, supervising, dealing with the community, just being able to know how to respond to certain situations and that kind of stuff. It gives you all of that all wrapped up in one. And, it's an experience. And I was truly grateful for being on there. And um, I'm so happy that, I served, especially for my where I grew up at, because Uniondale, it gave me the opportunity to show the younger individual, the younger kids, same places I was from, same basketball courts and places I was running up and down, riding bikes and all that kind of stuff, that, this is something that you could do. You don't have to wait until you're, like many people do, retired and join the school board. You could join the school board a couple years out, or, once you turn 18, honestly.
yeah.
So it was, for me, it was great, and I thought that, I was able to, set an example for people, and that was my major concern. I wanted to show people like us that this is something that's attainable and that we could definitely do.
Love it. So, from what I'm hearing is that you have experience that goes from, uh, growing up in a majority minority community to playing varsity level sports to being, a team player on a highly successful athletic team to working on in an environment like Rikers Island that is actually getting a lot of feedback right now. So I know that it wasn't easy. So learning how to adapt into an environment like that to working in establishment that like Memorial Sloan and Kettering and
Mhm.
handling billing and just understanding patients and working in that field, and then serving for 3 years for the Uniondale School District and learning the ins and outs of not only local policy, but educational policy, and
Right.
having to serve the next generation of education to now where, you're looking to serve as the next Nassau County Clerk. So I think your experience speaks for itself. And so, if the voters decide, then that's something that, could possibly be a victory and a service for you. So again, we're very excited and we're very grateful to be able to have this conversation. And that's our goal as an organization, is to highlight millennials and Gen Z of color that are running for office, and also put a highlight and expand their experience and expand their platform to our demographic, to let everyone know that this is happening. There is a shift of power, and that we got to support those that are taking the leap of faith to do this, because I know it's not easy. So thank you, Justin, not only for the time tonight, but thank you for being a trailblazer and for taking that leap of faith so that other people can follow your path, not only in Nassau County, but not only in Suffolk County, the entire island, and hopefully going into the metro region.
Thank you. I mean, this is great. And I just want to say that, again, we need to step up as millennials, as younger individuals. We have to be the people that want to make change. Without us even stepping up, speaking up, even putting our hats in the ring and just saying that, hey, I want to be a legislator. I want to run for senator. You never know. Once we get into these positions and, we start showing that, we want to make a change and that we want to be in these seats, things will really change, because our perspectives on things may be different from, individuals who have been in these seats for 15, 20 years.
Yeah,
And we'll get that backing, because once we see that, we're running for stuff, then we'll have our community members, our residents, people that know us, want to come out and support us. So I just want to tell everybody that, you know, this is something that's attainable. I did it. I was never, you know, I went to Uniondale. I was never the smartest person in the room. I was never, you know, the person that was in every AP course or anything like that, you know, but I just, the one thing I did want to do was help people. And that was always my thing. I never knew what I wanted to do, but I always said that whatever I do, I wanted to be able to be put in a position where I can help individuals. And by God's grace, he's been giving me the opportunity every step of the way. Anything I've done so far has been to, you know, help individuals and put them in a better place, in a better position. So I want to continue to do that, especially when I become county clerk. We will continue to help our Nassau County residents. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope that everyone supports. Please, November 2nd is the election. If you can't come out, we still have early voting, October 23rd to the 31st. And absentee ballots, I think, are due by Monday if you want to request it. But you have other options as well. So please come out. You know, it's essential that, you know, our voice is heard. And, you know, with everyone's help, we can definitely pull this off.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Love it. Justin, best of luck for this year's election. Again, November 2nd. Absentee ballots is October 18th. And early vote starts within the next week, actually. So this is a big election. Local elections are always big. And with that being said, again, my name is Dan Lloyd, and we're Minority Millennials. And our goal is to bridge the gap between policy and culture. And our slogan is minority is the new majority. And that's just the way it is. So thank you again, Justin. Best of luck again in November. And we look forward to seeing your progress.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Just